My wife cheated on me on Thanksgiving, while I was carving the turkey. Thanksgiving used to be my favorite holiday. It had everything I loved: good food, family around the table, crisp weather, football on in the background. No gifts, no stress. Just connection. That was until last year. I'm a 37-year-old man. My now ex-wife, Claire, is 35. We had been together for 10 years, married for 7. Everyone said we were the perfect couple. Our friends would always joke how we were goals, how we had the spark that never seemed to die. And for the longest time, I believed it too. We didn't have kids, not yet. We were planning to start trying early this year, after our big trip to Europe. Thank God that didn't happen. It started with small things. Claire started spending more time working late. She'd be distracted during dinner, always on her phone. She laughed less. She didn't want to cuddle like she used to. Sex became rare and mechanical, like checking off a box. I brought it up. She said it was just work stress. That her company was understaffed. That she was tired. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. Now comes Thanksgiving. I hosted. As always. My brother came with his girlfriend. Claire's sister and her husband came too. Her mom was supposed to come, but caught a cold. Everyone brought something. The house smelled like heaven. Turkey was roasting, wine was flowing. It was one of those warm, golden evenings where everything felt right. Or so I thought. Claire was glued to her phone the entire day. I caught her in the hallway texting someone with a smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. I peeked at the name, M, just M. No last name. I remember that moment like a freeze frame in a movie. She noticed me looking and quickly locked her screen. I said, "Who's M?" She laughed. Just a friend from work. But something in her tone made my stomach drop. I should have pressed her, but my family was there, and I didn't want to ruin Thanksgiving. So I let it go, or tried to. Later that night, after we ate and I was carving what was left of the turkey, Claire said she had to take a quick call upstairs. I nodded. I even smiled. God, I was such a fool. 15 minutes passed. Then 20. My brother noticed. "Where's Claire?" I shrugged. Probably work stuff. But something gnawed at me. A voice in my head screamed, "Go upstairs." I don't know what I expected to find. I didn't want to become that guy, snooping around. But my feet moved on their own. When I got to our bedroom, the door was closed, not locked. I heard her laugh. Not her fake work laugh, or her polite dinner party laugh. Her real laugh. The one I fell in love with. I pushed the door open. There she was. On our bed. On top of another man. I didn't recognize him. He looked maybe mid-30s, well-dressed, smug as hell. She froze. He scrambled. I just stood there. I felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. Claire screamed, pulled the blanket over herself. He muttered something like, "Shit, I thought you said," and bolted past me like I was invisible. My mouth couldn't form words. My brain was lagging behind reality. Claire was crying, begging, trying to explain. It was a mistake. It's not what it looks like. But it was exactly what it looked like. I walked out. Went downstairs. Everyone looked at me like something was wrong. I said, "Thanksgiving's over. Get out." There was silence. My brother followed me to the garage and asked what happened. I told him everything. He looked like he wanted to go back up there and destroy something. I told him to let it go. I just needed air. Claire tried to call me. Texted me paragraphs. It was only a few times. He meant nothing. I didn't think you'd find out. Can we talk? I didn't answer. I spent the night at my brother's. The next morning, I called a lawyer. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Here's the kicker. Turns out, Claire and M had been seeing each other for almost 6 months. He was a new hire at her firm. She was the one training him. Things escalated. Office lunches turned into late-night drinks, which turned into hotel rooms. She admitted to me during one of our confrontations that she invited him over on Thanksgiving because she felt alive with him. That while I was cooking a turkey for her family, she was sneaking upstairs for a quickie. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I didn't think you'd come upstairs." Let that sink in. She didn't regret it. She regretted being caught. I spiraled for weeks. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop picturing them in our bed, while I was downstairs carving meat for our loved ones. Now. It's been almost a year. I've started therapy. I've reconnected with old friends. I've lost 30 pounds. Not from stress, but because I started running every day to burn the rage out of me. I bought a new bed. A new set of sheets. A new knife, too. Couldn't keep the one I used to carve that turkey. Thanksgiving is coming again soon. My brother asked if I wanted to do something. I said yes, but just the two of us. No family, no big dinner. We'll order Chinese food, watch a movie, and not talk about the past. Maybe one day I'll be able to open up to someone new. Maybe not. But for now, I'm thankful that I found out who Claire really was before we had kids, before we bought a bigger house, before I invested another decade into a lie. Sometimes the worst moments crack open the truth. And sometimes the truth is the beginning of freedom. 1 year after she cheated on Thanksgiving, I didn't expect to see her again like this. It's been almost exactly 1 year. 1 year since I walked in on my wife cheating on me upstairs in our bedroom. While I was carving the damn Thanksgiving turkey for our families downstairs. A lot can change in 12 months. And in some ways, I feel like I've lived 2 different lives. Before and after Claire. After the divorce, I promised myself I wouldn't date again for at least a year. That year ended last week. And to be honest, I wasn't even planning to date now either. But life has a twisted sense of humor. A few weeks ago, I met someone. Her name is Megan. I met her at my local coffee shop. Cliché, I know, but I guess life sometimes is like a rom-com in its quieter moments. I was sitting at the corner table, working on my laptop and sipping burnt espresso. She was behind me, trying to balance 2 coffees and her laptop bag when she dropped one of the cups right onto the floor near my foot. I helped her clean up. We joked. She was funny, smart, had this dry humor that cut through my usual walls. We kept running into each other that week, and eventually I asked if she wanted to sit with me. We've gone on 5 dates since then. She's not Claire. And that's what I love about her. No secrets. No games. Just honesty. Realness. Megan knows I'm divorced. She doesn't know the full Thanksgiving horror story, not yet, but she's been patient. She hasn't pushed. And for the first time in a long time, I don't feel like I'm being measured against someone else. This past Thursday, Thanksgiving again, I decided not to be alone. Megan invited me to her friend's dinner. Small group. No pressure. Just good food and warm company. I accepted. It was hard, if I'm being honest. I didn't expect all the memories to come flooding back, the scent of turkey, the soft jazz in the background, people laughing over wine. I had to excuse myself at one point and step outside for air. Megan came out a few minutes later, placed a hand on my arm, and didn't ask anything. Just stood next to me. That's when I knew I was healing, because I didn't feel the urge to run. I just let the moment exist. But here's where it gets weird. The next day, Black Friday, I was out with my brother. We went to a small local hardware store, picking up some things for a kitchen project I've been slowly working on. As we were walking back to the parking lot, I saw her. Claire. She looked different. Not bad. Not better. Just different. Like someone who had been trying really hard to act okay for too long. She was walking out of a nearby boutique. Alone. Holding 2 shopping bags. We made eye contact before I could turn away. And of course, she walked straight up to me. "Hey," she said. Her voice was cautious. My brother tensed beside me. I nodded. "Hey." There was a pause. Then she added, "You look good." It wasn't flirty. It was almost sad. "Thanks," I replied. "You too." Another awkward pause. She looked at my brother, then back at me. "Can we talk? Just for a minute?" I didn't want to. But curiosity, or closure, got the better of me. I told my brother I'd be right back and walked a few steps away with her. She said, "I've been meaning to reach out. But I didn't think you'd ever want to hear from me again." "You were right," I said. She winced. "Fair. I didn't ask how she'd been. I didn't care enough to offer that." She said, I need you to know that I regret everything. Not just what I did. But how I destroyed what we had. You were good to me. Better than I deserved. And I ruined it." I didn't say anything. I let her speak. I thought what I had with Mark was real. It wasn't. It burned out in a few weeks after the divorce. He ghosted me. No explanation. Poetic justice, I thought. Claire looked down, fiddling with the straps of her bag. "I've been in therapy. Trying to figure out why I did what I did. And I know it doesn't change anything, but I'm sorry. It didn't feel like a manipulation. For once, it felt sincere. And I hated that a part of me still wanted to yell. To tell her she ripped my heart out while I was trying to give her the world. But I didn't. I just said, "Thank you." She looked surprised. Then she asked, "Are you seeing anyone?" I hesitated. Then said, "Yeah. I am." She nodded slowly. "Good. I'm glad. You deserve that." And then she left. Now I can't stop thinking about how full circle everything came. 1 year ago, I was carving turkey while my wife was upstairs cheating on me. This year, I was eating pumpkin pie with someone who genuinely respects me. Who doesn't lie to me. Who holds space for my silence. I don't hate Claire anymore. I pity her. She lost something real and didn't realize it until it was gone. And I lost someone fake, and didn't realize how lucky I was until I saw what freedom felt like. To anyone reading this who's been through betrayal, I know it feels like the end. Like your soul has been torn from your body. But I promise, it gets better. Not overnight. Not without scars. But with time and honesty and patience, you heal. And sometimes, healing shows up in the form of a spilled coffee, a stranger's smile, and a quiet Thanksgiving dinner where no one lies to your face. I'm still healing. But I'm no longer bleeding. And that's enough for now. The man who slept with my wife just walked into the same restaurant, while I was on a date with someone new. It's strange how the past doesn't knock when it comes back, it just walks straight through the front door. Last night, I was out on a dinner date with Megan, the woman I mentioned in my last post, the one I met in a coffee shop, the first person I've felt something real with since Claire. Things have been going well, almost suspiciously well. So well, in fact, that I almost forgot how badly betrayal can burn. Almost. We were at a cozy Italian place downtown. Megan wore this green dress that made her eyes pop like emeralds. We were laughing about something dumb, I don't even remember what it was. The food was great, the wine was better, and for a while, I wasn't thinking about Thanksgiving. Or betrayal. Or the way Claire's voice cracked when she apologized. Then the door to the restaurant opened behind me. Megan's face changed first. Her smile faded into something unreadable, confused, almost stiff. I turned to glance, just a quick look. And there he was. Mark. The man who slept with my wife upstairs in my bedroom on Thanksgiving while I was carving a turkey for her family. I never got a good look at his face back then. Just a blur of someone scrambling for his pants, slipping out like a coward. But now, I saw him clearly. Tall. Athletic build. Confident walk. He was with two other guys. Laughing as if the world owed him joy. He didn't recognize me at first. But then he locked eyes with me. And froze. I didn't move. Didn't flinch. Didn't even blink. Just stared at him. His smile faded. He said something to his friends and they took a table in the opposite corner. Far, but not far enough. Megan leaned in. Is that? I nodded. The guy. Yep. She didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then, do you want to leave? I looked at her, really looked. This woman, who had no reason to sit through my unresolved trauma. No obligation to carry the weight of someone else's mistake. And yet, she was offering me an out without judgment. I shook my head. No. I'm done running from ghosts. We continued dinner. I could feel Mark glancing our way now and then, and part of me hoped he recognized what he was seeing. That I wasn't broken anymore. That I had rebuilt. That the woman sitting across from me wasn't someone I needed to lie to, or someone who would lie to me. Halfway through dessert, I excused myself to use the restroom. And of course, fate wouldn't let me pass quietly. As I exited the hallway near the bathroom, Mark was standing there, arms folded. Like he was waiting. Hey, he said. Can we talk? I nearly laughed. Seriously? Just for a minute. I looked around. The hallway was empty. Say what you need to say. He sighed. Look, I know I was an asshole. I didn't know she was married, not at first. She didn't tell me until it was too late. You knew on Thanksgiving. He looked down. Yeah. I did. And I still stayed. Silence. I'm not proud of it, he said. I've had a lot of time to think about it. I folded my arms. Did you come over to her house thinking you'd hook up while her husband was home? No. I didn't know you'd be there. She said the coast was clear. I shook my head. Unbelievable. I'm not asking for forgiveness, he said quickly. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I was selfish. Stupid. And I never apologized. I didn't respond right away. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I had too much. So I picked the only words that mattered. I'm not the one you need to apologize to anymore. I walked back to the table without looking back. Megan raised an eyebrow when I sat down. I said, he wanted to apologize. I told him to go to hell. She smiled faintly. Good. But the night didn't end there. As we were leaving the restaurant, Megan slipped her hand into mine. I don't want to push you, she said quietly. But you've never really told me what happened that day. I stiffened. I thought I had told her enough, the outline, at least. But I hadn't. Not the full story. Not the details. Not how violated I felt. So, I told her. I told her how I cooked the meal. How I set the table. How Claire snuck upstairs. How I found them. How he ran like a coward and she cried like a liar. How I threw out the knife I used to carve the turkey. How I slept on my brother's couch for 3 weeks. How I looked in the mirror for months and saw a ghost staring back. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I just said it, like reading off an autopsy report of my old life. When I finished, Megan didn't say anything. She just stopped in the middle of the sidewalk and hugged me. Not the kind of hug that's about comfort or fixing something. But the kind that says, I see you. I still choose you. Now, sitting here the morning after, I realize something. Mark walking into that restaurant didn't ruin the night. It revealed something. He's still the same guy, maybe slightly more ashamed, but ultimately unchanged. But I'm different. I'm not the man who carved turkey while being cheated on. I'm not the man who couldn't sleep, wondering if he was unlovable. I'm the man who stood tall, looked his worst memory in the eye, and didn't flinch. And I'm the man who might just be falling in love again, slowly, carefully, and without illusions. Thanksgiving used to be the day my life broke. Now, it's the day I see how far I've come. If you're still reading this, thank you. And if you've ever been betrayed like this, your story doesn't end in that pain. Sometimes the best revenge is a quiet night with someone who loves you the way your ex never could. Sometimes healing looks like tiramisu and a strong hand holding yours under the table. And sometimes, the ghosts from your past show up just to realize they don't haunt you anymore. Claire sent me a letter. I burned it without reading a word. It came in a plain white envelope. No return address. No name. Just my name, handwritten in a way I instantly recognized. Claire's handwriting. I stood at my mailbox for a full 5 minutes, staring at it. My first instinct was to toss it right into the trash, but curiosity has claws. I took it inside. Placed it on the kitchen counter. Sat across from it like it was some kind of bomb. Megan was out of town for a weekend conference, so I was alone. Just me, and the ghost of someone I used to love. I didn't open it. Instead, I poured myself a drink and stared at the envelope like it owed me something. What could she possibly say now? I miss you. I was wrong. Can we meet? Would any of it matter? The thing is, I already had the closure I needed. I didn't need her words to move on. I'd built something better. Someone better stood beside me now. Claire had years to speak the truth and chose lies instead. Now, a letter. After all this time. I finished my drink. Picked up the envelope. Walked out back to the fire pit I hadn't used in months. Tossed it in. Lit a match. Watched the envelope curl and blacken and vanish into smoke. It felt peaceful. Not angry. Not vengeful. Just final. Some endings don't need conversations. Some ghosts don't deserve resurrection. Later that night, Megan called. How's your evening? She asked. I smiled. Quiet. Peaceful. Cleansing, actually. Cleansing. I glanced at the fire pit outside. Yeah, I said. Just letting go of something I should have burned a long time ago. Maybe that letter was filled with regrets. Maybe it asked for forgiveness. Maybe it begged for another chance. But I don't need maybes anymore. I have now. And now is enough.